Scientists have discovered something unusual. Is it aliens or some new planet? The rumor that an unexpected discovery on the moon has been making the rounds. You are open to guessing? Well, what did they uncover exactly? It has been 53 years since a human being became the first to set foot on the moon. Our fascination with the planet, that is our closest neighbor, has grown along with our knowledge of that neighbor. Researchers have identified a significant object that has been hiding beneath the moon's opposite side. Oh, that sounds quite exciting and scary simultaneously. Want to know the secret? Let's go on this amazing space ride. Welcome back to Future Space. While humans are making preparations to return to the moon, robots have already begun mapping its surface, developing its topography and geological features, and illuminating even the perpetually dark portions of the moon. The finding that there was water on the moon in 2008, which was spearheaded by India's Chandrayaan mission, was the most significant advancement. How cool is that, isn't it? Well, let's find out what new things they got. Scientists have finally identified the crash location of a forgotten rocket stage that crashed on the far side of the moon in March, after months of analyzing photos of the lunar surface. They are still unsure of which rocket the errant debris came from. They are also confused as to why the impact created two craters rather than just one. It's cool because it's an unexpected outcome, said Mark Robinson, an Arizona State University professor of geological sciences and the principal investigator for the camera aboard NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance orbiter, which has been studying the moon since 2009. That's always a lot more fun than if the crater's depth and diameter were exactly correct. Dr. Robinson posted a message on a website that archives photographs collected by the lunar orbiter describing the discovery. In January, Bill Gray, the developer of Project Pluto, a suite of astronomy software used to calculate the orbits of asteroids and comets, tracked what appeared to be a discarded upper stage of a rocket. He concluded it was on a collision course with the moon's far side. At approximately 7:25 a.m. Eastern Time on March 4, the crash was unavoidable. However, because the exact orbit of the object was unknown, there was some uncertainty about the time and location of the collision. Mr. Gray stated that the rocket component was the second stage of a SpaceX Falcon 9 that was launched by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Deep Space Climate Observatory, or DSCOVR, in February 2015. He was mistaken. The launch trajectory of DSCOVR, according to a NASA engineer, was incompatible with the orbit of the object Mr. Gray was following. Mr. Gray found that the most likely possibility was a Long March 3C rocket launched from China a few months previously on October 23, 2014. According to students at the University of Arizona, an examination of the light reflected from the object revealed that the wavelength mix matched similar Chinese rockets rather than a Falcon 9. However, a Chinese official denied that it was part of a Chinese rocket and stated that the rocket stage from that mission, which launched the Chang'e 5 T1 spacecraft, had re-entered the atmosphere of Earth and burned up. This mission launched the Chang'e 5 T1 spacecraft. The object continued to follow the spiraling route that was determined by gravity, even though it was a component of a rocket. It happened at the exact time that was anticipated, and it crashed into the remote side of the moon within the Hertzsprung crater, which is 350 miles wide. No one on Earth saw it happen. The Lunar Reconnaissance orbiter was not in a position to observe the impact, but it was hoped that a newly carved crater would appear in a photograph that the spacecraft obtained after the impact had already occurred. The software that Mr. Gray uses made one prediction on the location of the impact. The experts at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory calculated a location a few miles to the east, whereas the members of the Lincoln Laboratory at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology anticipated that the crash would occur tens of miles to the west of their calculated location. This meant that the researchers had to explore a swath approximately 50 miles long for a crater a few tens of feet broad, comparing the lunar landscape before and after the crash to discover recent perturbations in the environment. Dr. Robinson expressed his concern that we were going to need a whole year of imaging to fill in the box. Even though the Lunar Reconnaissance orbiter has taken many pictures of the great bulk of the moon over the past 13 years, there are still certain areas that it has not captured on camera. It was discovered that some of the holes were located near the predicted impact point. Dr. Robinson recalled thinking about Murphy's Law and making a joke about how he knew exactly where the disaster would strike. Because the accident was anticipated 1 month in advance, the team working on the mission was able to fill in most of the gaps in their knowledge. After that, the search got underway. In most cases, computer software is used to conduct the comparison. However, for optimal results, the before and after photographs should be captured at the same time of day. For this particular search, many of the photographs were taken at different times, which caused the algorithm to become confused due to the differences in the shadows. Dr. Robinson explained that because of all the false positives, we sat down and had multiple people manually looking through the millions of pixels. Alexander Sonke, who is a senior in the Geological Sciences Department at Arizona State University, contributed to the effort. He calculated that he had spent approximately 50 hours carrying out the laborious task over several weeks. In May, Mr. Sonke received his degree. He got married. He went on his honeymoon after the wedding. His first day back at work was about a week and a half ago, and he immediately got back to looking for the impact site. He is about to start his graduate school studies, with Dr. Robinson serving as his advisor, and this is his first day back at work. It was found by him. As the before and after images flickered back and forth, Mr. Sonke claimed to have noticed a clump of pixels that looked dramatically different in brightness. When I first saw it, I had a strong suspicion that it was a brand new geologic formation. As Mr. Sonke explained, I leaped out of my seat a little bit, got a feeling that this was probably it, and then tried my best to kind of suppress my excitement, the speaker said. According to Dr. Robinson, the eastern crater has a diameter of around 20 yards, and it is overlaid on the slightly smaller crater in the western region. The western crater was most likely developed a few thousandths of a second before the eastern crater. It is not the first time that a piece of spacecraft has crashed into the surface of the moon. For instance, craters were created on the moon in the 1970s by fragments of the Saturn V rockets that carried humans to the lunar surface. However, none of those collisions resulted in the formation of a double crater. The reason this one did could provide a clue to its secret identity. The Chang'e 5T1 spacecraft was transported to the moon by the Chinese mission that took place in October 2014. This mission was a forerunner to the Chang'e 5 mission, which landed on the moon and delivered rock samples back to Earth. Dr. Robinson hypothesizes that the precursor T1 spacecraft featured a heavy mass at the top of the stage to simulate the presence of a lander, even though the T1 spacecraft did not have a lander on board. If this is the case, then the rocket engines at the base and the lander simulator at the top may have been responsible for creating the two craters. Dr. Robinson responded by saying, "That is utter conjecture on my part." The remaining components of the rocket stage would have been made of aluminum and would have been very thin and light. They would not have left much of a mark on the surface of the moon. The actual impact location was located near the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory between the areas predicted by Mr. Gray. It was within our calculated margins of error, Mr. Gray said. It was also fortunate that the Lunar Reconnaissance orbiter crew had filled in the gaps in the photographs, known as gores in mapmaker jargon. As luck would have it, that object impacted one of the gores, Dr. Robinson explained. We wouldn't have had a before image if I hadn't been warned. The scientists may have eventually discovered the crash site. Dirt thrown out of a gouged crater is usually brighter at first, becoming darker with time. That's how astronomers discovered the craters made by Saturn's fifth stage, but they'd still be seeking a single bright spot in the moon's haystack. Perhaps we'll get more such videos only for you. While you're on this channel, please take a moment to hit the like button and the subscribe button to ensure that you don't miss any of our incredible videos about space.